Hello, everybody. Happy Talk to Me Tuesday. It's actually Wednesday, but we've been teacher work days this week, and I didn't have time to do my video yesterday, so alas, I'm late, but I guess it's better late than never. Let's see, I've only got one thing to show today, hopefully more next week, but this is a pretty big thing. This is a project I've been working on for a while, so I'm very excited to have finally finished it. So some of you may remember last year, one of my college professors passed away very suddenly. She was very young. I think she was 50 years old. It was a really sudden, unexpected thing. And she was the advisor for a program called the Prebaked Scholars, which is basically a nonprofit at my university where you apply as an undergraduate to be part of kind of like a social justice community where you choose a country that you are going to spend the next couple of years researching. It's usually a country that the university already has a connection with in some way. Maybe they had a visiting professor from there, or maybe the professor who's the advisor did research or did like, a visiting professorship program with. So our group was Ghana. Ghana was our country of choice, and Professor Dr. Frontani was our advisor. And so, under her leadership, we actually were able to raise enough money to help a small village called Poeta in Ghana to build a medical center that they really needed. And over the last couple of years, we've helped them to build a maternity ward and to get a doctor or a nurse there full time. So it was one of those programs where we wanted to make sure we were providing them help that they actually wanted, as well as needed. We didn't want to be, we're Americans, we have money, we know what is good for you. Like, this is a program that they had begun building already, but they didn't have the funds. So we were able to help them with that. So it was a pretty amazing program. And Dr. Frentani was a really big part of keeping that alive even after we graduated. So anyway, sorry, that was a lot of backstory. So I decided when she passed away that I wanted to make her something. I really had wanted to make this for her while she was alive, but as we so often do, I procrastinated and had the bitter realization when she passed away that this is the best time to do it if I'm going to do it. So I made a wall hanging. I know it's backwards because I've got my video camera on. So it just says, in memory of Dr. Heidi G. Frontani. This symbol in the middle, I appliqued this. I know my video is not the best. I used like a black, almost canvas fabric, probably like a duck cloth, to cut out the shape. I didn't really do the best job that I could have done because I should have put interfacing and whatever. But it's an Adinkra symbol, and in West Africa they have symbols that are imbued with meaning, and this one I'm not gonna embarrass myself and pronounce the Ghanaian word for it, but basically it's the Siamese crocodiles. What one takes in affects both. It's that idea of global citizenship. What we do in one part of the planet is going to impact another part of the planet for good or ill, so we try to obviously impact it for good. I wasn't sure how I wanted to quilt it because there's not like a lot of parts. It's 3 fabrics, but like I didn't want to try to do any fancy quilting work because I'd never really done that. So I sewed beads, and I just thought they were really pretty, little like Japanese glass or whatever beads, to kind of go around the design because otherwise it's kind of simple. I think it turned out pretty well. The letters, I like kind of made my own stencil, so I like printed out. I found a font that I liked. I printed it out kind of like I would for a freezer paper t-shirt, but I just printed it on regular paper, and then I took my pen knife and cut it out and then traced it on here and then worked it. I think I worked it in 3 strands of DMC floss. So yeah, and then for the binding, I was anticipating doing something wider, um, but I ended up not having it, and I was really anxious to get it done because I was on a roll. And actually, I kind of like how the thinner binding turned out. Still could have been better, but um, so yeah, so I machine sewed the top of the binding, and then on the back, I went ahead and did it by hand because what I didn't want, and I've done this too many times on small quilts, is I'll do the binding like on the front and then I go to machine stitch it down the back and you can just see the nasty looking stitch on the front, and I did not want to risk that. Um, so I just went ahead and did it by hand, and actually I'm really happy with how that turned out. So the back is nothing to speak of. I put little doobledoppers here so that a dowel rod or something can be put there if it's going to be hung, which ideally it would be a wall hanging. It doesn't really lie super flat. I'm hoping that wherever it ends up, um, they'll find a decent way to hang it. So yeah, and then the fabric on the back was actually given to me by one of the other Periclean scholars from our class who had traveled to Ghana. And so like a year ago when I told her I really wanted to do this project, she offered to send me some of her fabric. And so I was able to use it for the back. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm a little concerned about fraying with this applique. I did buy some fray check. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. I've never done it before, and I don't want this to be my guinea pig. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of doing my best to keep it clean. And the big question now is, what are we going to do with it? So I asked the other Periclean scholars. We have a big email chain going. And their suggestion, which makes sense, I'm gonna email her husband, and of course, if he wants it, then of course I will give it to him and to his family. But it does say Dr. Haiji Frontani. I feel like you're gonna have that in your house. It's a little formal. I don't know. But I guess I envisioned maybe, not that it's like beautiful and worth hanging up in a public place, but like maybe hang up in the geography department where she worked, and I don't know, whatever. Somebody also suggested maybe if the geography department doesn't want to hang it up, that possibly the medical center in Poeta would want to put it there with the plaque that they have to commemorate her life. So I don't know. I mean, that's a kind of cool thought, something you made hanging up in another country. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on. Otherwise, I've been back to school, and that's been keeping me pretty busy. I'm going to try this week / this weekend to throw together some really easy window valances because my classroom needs them. It needs a little bit of something. Just those windows are so big and open. So I'm going to try to make some valances. And I promised my dad that I would make him some cornhole bags. If you guys have never played cornhole, it's a really popular game, at least on the East Coast of the United States. Basically, it's like a beanbag toss. And so he made some cornhole boards. He's very crafty that way. And asked if I would actually make the bags. So I need to do that like today. So yeah, so this is already long enough. I hope you guys are having a great week, that wherever you are safe and healthy and happy. And I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.